Jesus freak here. I got asked a bit about this that shows up in a lot of my Sunday scripture reading videos. If it was the Book of Common Prayer. Yeah, it is. If you don't see that one, you'll usually see this, which is the same thing. The difference is basically who published them. This one's published by Oxford. This one's published by the church, the Episcopal Church themselves. It's the 1979 Book of Common Prayer with the replacement of the lectionary with the Revised Common Lectionary, which they did in 2006. And although the two versions have been completely they've been typeset completely different, the pagination is exactly the same. So if you were to go to an Episcopal church, they'd say, oh, if you need to reference something in the BCP, they say, turn to page whatever. It'll be the same in both of these. Now there's a section near the beginning, and for every week of the year, as well as several specific days, there is an appropriate prayer. And there's several, special purpose ones. And they exist both in the language of the 1662 Book of Common Prayer, which, by the way, that's what Cambridge still prints in the UK, or alternatively, there's a modern English version of the same exact prayers. So it's the same text, but modern language. And the reason I use the 1662 texts, or the versions that are done in 1662 style language, is because it's a better fit when I'm using the KJV. If I were to get the rights, I'd have to, clear things before I do it. Specifically because, at the very least, because of the Philemon reading that comes up once every 3 years, is in and of itself a violation of the copyrights of most modern Bible translations. So I would have to clear any modern versions I'd want to use. And for a similar reason, the Spanish translation, there's a Spanish translation from '89 of the Book of Common Prayer, but it's copyrighted by the Church of the Episcopal Church. Whereas for some reason, with the English versions, what they do is when the Book of Common Prayer is in beta, they copyright it, and then when they release the actual revision, they relinquish the copyright, and instead of using copyright, they put a certification on the copyright page. The same exact verbiage is found on the copyright page of this pocket-sized version. So I'm not concerned with the copyright issues of quoting the Book of Common Prayer or its 1928 predecessor, which I have occasionally referenced as well. The gotcha would be using the Spanish version. And, of course, the copyright issues are going to get me if I'm using something other than the KJV for scriptures. I don't have a Spanish version I can use without licensing either. And I've considered it. I'm not sure how I'd, want to exactly go about if I were going to use a modern translation. It'd probably be owing to the fact that they're more open to people tinkering with the text to suit the specific needs. The ESV, so I'd have to contact Crossway about that. For Spanish, the best version I have is the NBLA, so I'd have to contact Lockman. Yes, Lockman is an NASB. NBLA is the Spanish counterpart of the NASB. And I'd have to contact the Episcopal Church about using the Spanish Book of Common Prayer, the Libro de Oración Común, I think it's called. The same thing. Alternatively, I could fumble through trying to create my own Spanish translations. I can read Spanish, I can understand Spanish. I don't speak it very well. These would be ideas for doing, additional Jesus Freak Sunday scripture reading videos. Of course, I'd also have to deal with the fact that the Sunday scripture reading videos that I do in English use hymns. And I have to decide on the hymns I use within the limitations, getting the rights to use stuff that's still in copyright is going to be about a pain. None of these, CCLI, one license, or any of those, group licensing things for churches, they're really not a good fit for, a one-person ministry with a YouTube channel. And trying to arrange directly with the most common copyright holders I'm going to run into are Hope Publishing Company, Abingdon Press, and the Church Pension Fund. The latter two are the United Methodist Church and the Episcopal Church, respectively. In particular, I've had to do some of my own arrangements specifically to get around. I don't have a good arrangement in any of my other hymnals or whatever, and I'd rather use my own than, deal with the copyright problems or, try to take a chance. I ain't taking no chances. I get enough false copyrights hits. I won't say strikes because it don't cause strikes. I get enough of them already without having to deal with actual copyright strikes from using stuff for, usually it's going to be Hope or Abingdon owns the rights to. I'd be willing to go through the process. I'd even be willing to pay money. It's just, The procedures really aren't there for the kinds of stuff I'm doing. Just so you know where all this is. Jesus, freak out.